Hi, I'm Jim Anderson, SocialFlow CEO, and I'm here to talk to you today on Facebook Live about the allegations of bias that Facebook was suppressing the conservative news. You may have seen that story last week. It was a big story in the news. We were quoted in the Financial Times in Advertising Week in Yahoo Finance covering the topic. And the reason is that SocialFlow publishes more media content to Facebook than anybody. Our customers comprise more than half of the top 150 media companies in the world, and we publish about 500,000 posts a month to Facebook, and they reach somewhere around 35 to 40 million impressions from those posts as well. So we see a lot of media content going in, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes this morning clarifying what we did see, what we didn't see. We are coming to you by Facebook Live, so if we have any questions or comments that I can see and respond to, I'll be happy to do that as well if time permits. So first off, let's talk about the allegations of bias. So the story that came out, it was in Gizmodo, and it reported that Facebook was somehow systematically suppressing conservative viewpoints in the trending topics section. And the first thing I want to distinguish is in terms of where that allegation was alleged to occur. And the trending topics section is in the top right of the Facebook desktop experience. The only way you can see it on a mobile experience, which may be how you're watching this right now, is if you actually do a search, and you'll see the trending section. So it wasn't alleged to have happened in the news feed, and frankly, that's really where the attention from most consumers are. So the first thing I'll let you know is that it was alleged to have occurred in the top right section of the desktop experience, which is not the main news feed. The second point is we actually saw no evidence of that in the data that we looked at in the news feed. There is a lot of volatility in traffic. Publishers spend a lot of time looking at their traffic and seeing whether it's going up and down, and it's a little bit hard for us to believe that if there was any kind of systematic bias, especially on any kind of scale, that publishers themselves wouldn't have seen it and that we wouldn't have seen it. So we saw no evidence of that at all. But maybe more importantly, I want to talk a little bit about what constitutes bias and how one would even determine that from an individual perspective. And it's important to understand that your Facebook experience and my Facebook experience are each very different. In fact, it's probably safe to say, aside from a few edge cases, no two people have the exact same Facebook experience, because what I see on Facebook is the sum total of the posts that come from my friends, from the celebrities and the news outlets I follow, or any other pages I choose to follow. And what you see on Facebook is going to be very different because you have different friends, different interests. And even within that, even if we did have the exact same friends and the exact same pages and news outlets that we followed, Facebook has algorithms that give you more of the content that you interact with and less of the content that you don't interact with. So even if we did manage to have the exact same set of friends and pages that we followed, if we behaved and interacted with that content in a different way, which we almost certainly would, then what you actually see in your feed is likely to be somewhat different than what I see in my feed. So when you're trying to self-assess and say, hey, am I seeing a liberal bias, am I seeing a conservative bias, what you may be seeing, if anything, is a mirror held up to yourself. Facebook may be reflecting back the kinds of decisions you've made in terms of the content that you've interacted with before. And so that's sort of an interesting thing as well, which is not to say that Facebook couldn't, if they wanted to, have some sort of bias inserted. And I think Mark Zuckerberg made a very smart move this week in meeting with a number of conservatives about this issue of bias, because I think we've just heard the beginning of this story. Facebook is so big and so pervasive that I think a lot of people are now thinking about how content is represented and what Facebook's duty is in terms of representing, especially news-related content. So I think we're a lot closer to the beginning of this story than the end, and we're probably going to continue to hear these types of discussions about what is and is not happening and what role and responsibility Facebook has in this, especially as we move in the United States into a pretty heated election season. So that's my summary on Facebook and in terms of the allegations of bias that we've seen. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Jim Anderson. I'm the CEO of SocialFlow, and thanks very much for watching.